on the beat.
Welcome to the Round 3 Supercoach Take podcast. As always, George is joining me, and after a pretty average week for me, he jumped me in the ranks. So I scored 2,209 and pretty much held spot just outside the top 1K. Hayden Young, not very good for me, and Brayshaw, who I traded in, also not up to standard. So, yeah, look, still in a good spot. I've only used 2 trades. We'll have to use one more this week. So I can't really complain where I'm at. How'd you go, George?
How are you, Anno? Had a good week. Scored 2,305 and rank 802. So usually it takes me about 12 weeks to overtake you.
Yeah, already have.
A little bit earlier this time, so you're in trouble. But it's still early days, So, yeah, I had a good week. I think the D6 shambles was pretty bad. We'll speak about that first.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Butts pulled a 90 at his ass, literally. And yeah, I think Jack Steele started to get going. I was really disappointed for his 100th game. Certainly deserved better than that. But yeah, had a good week. So I think there's so many must-haves to have this year. I think we can go through them throughout the podcast.
Yep.
So it's a very difficult year, and if you don't have like one or two of these must-haves, it feels like it's a long way back just by having not one or two. So yeah.
Yeah, so you'll be looking to get one this week, aren't you?
Ridley. Well, you're half the reason I'm bringing in Ridley, because you've posted about 400 pictures of him. And you mentioned me to delete my team multiple times if you don't have Ridley. That was.
I don't really remember that.
Yeah.
So, So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I guess we'll look at the defenders first, and what their first upgrade will be. What we're looking to do at D6, because that's what killed me this week, and a lot of other good people. With Highmore getting dropped, it meant you had Butts, but I have Young at D6 already, so I thought I'd be fine. But you guys a lot of people got Butts on field, which was 70, 80 points. A lot of people had to field Cozzy instead, which was not a good thing.
Harry Sharp on as well.
Harry Sharp, Donut as well if you had him. So yeah, not a good week. And that's what we always at the start of the year, we were preaching to load up in defence for this exact reason. We didn't really see Highmore coming, but he was never like completely locked in anyway. I assume he comes back after their performance, but so yeah, Young's got to go for me. I think Chapman is coming straight in. He's probably the best option. And yeah, who would your first upgrade be if we're talking upgrades?
I think defense. I think going Young at D6 was okay. It was the right idea. I liked Highmore on field, but his job security was dodgy anyway. I think he comes back though, just because he dropped a player that played well, and then 20 other players didn't turn up the next week. So I assume he comes back in. But with upgrades, so I have 5 primos in defense now. So I brought in Ridley this week. So sleep a bit better and actually enjoy watching an Essendon game, maybe watching Zach Merritt. There's a lot of options here. So I think we're still waiting on Whitfield and figuring out what his health is like, I guess. So that he has the first bye. Callum Mills is an interesting one, but shares the bye with Laird and Lloyd. So it's a tough one. I think I can get away with 3 players with the bye there. Jack Bowes is an interesting one, but not someone I'm prepared to go on in the first half of the season. So Mills, Whitfield, Bowes maybe. I like Houston. Probably one of those guys. We're still trying to figure out, because there's a little bit of abnormal scoring going on. A whole bunch of 110 plus guys at the moment. So maybe that is the new normal. I'm not sure. So I feel okay with Houston, to be honest. He's kind of the one I want, just at this stage, but we'll see how we go. Do you have any preference for your first upgrade in defense and when that'll be?
Yeah, well, with our structure, I know you started with 4. I started with 5, so I don't really think I need to go as yet. I'll just probably be shoring up D6. I think, getting Chappie in and still having Cozzy and Highmore behind him is not exactly shoring it up, but I'm not going to be bringing in that 6th defender, I don't think, until, the buys for sure. With Young going out, and I have like 200k, so I have looked at with some DP, but I can get CJ, who we should talk about, who looked really good. He looks awesome, intercepting and taking the game on. Obviously, kicking is his only real suspect part of his game, but he only had one on the full, and he looked pretty solid other than that. So, look, I thought it might have been a flash in the pan, but can he really keep it up for it to be worth getting him in at like 330k now? I'm not sure. What's your thoughts on Big CJ?
Yeah, I think we have to patch up D6 somehow for some people. I'm going to field either Highmore or Butts there. But CJ is an option. A lot of people seem to have 200k in the bank if they had Cordwell or Phillips, or they downgraded Neil.
Yep.
So some people have that option. I liked CJ's game. He's barely put a foot wrong. His Amy game was good. His first two games kicking was off at times, but it was a bit better on the weekend. But yeah, he reads the play pretty well. Plays with no fear at all, it seems. I do like him a lot. 330, I think he's averaging 100 at the moment, so I don't know if he keeps this up. He's probably going to drop a 50 at some point, but he knows how to find the pill. He knows how to read the play. And yeah, they use him a little bit out of defense, so probably more impy. They're just always looking for impy out of defense, actually. But CJ can provide a bit of run, I guess. I think you can do it if you want to patch up D6. I'm not sure he averages 100 like he is now. Maybe I think he could go low 90s, to be honest. If that's something you're happy with, because usually you wouldn't want to bring it. Say if you expect him to average 90, you really wouldn't want to spend 330k on a player like that, especially in defense. But the problem is D6 is very weak at the moment. So I think you could go for CJ if you want. I have no issue with it if you want to, even though he's gone up like 60k or something. So I don't mind CJ pick.
Yeah, it would have to also definitely be this week.
Yep.
So I guess we'll move on to the midfield. The defense is pretty short. I think most people that especially listen to us probably have a lot of defenders. So shore up your D6 and then just probably monitor a few defenders to bring in.
Before we go to midfield real quick.
Yeah.
Do we move Mountains for Jordan Ridley if you don't have him?
Okay, right. You have to trade out a Primo pretty much to do so, unless you, like you said, already went Neil down or Caldwell down and had a fair bit of money. But you'd probably have to turn a Jordan Clark, Hayden Young, and almost another rookie into him. That's like 200k, which is it seems sort of maybe I would say if you'd use no trades to this point, yes, you could, but.
He's out of control.
He's 136 average, and it looks like the game. It didn't matter as well. The big question was the game script, I guess. Like, Essendon's going to get pumped, and he's going to do this every week. But they won by 80 points, and he still did it. So I think he's fixture proof, game proof, whatever. He's Supercoach just king. So I guess so. If you don't have him, I guess you just get him somehow.
Yeah, I'm cutting Clark and Campbell early. Trading Campbell is going to sting me really badly. I can see it. I know it's going to happen because we've already seen what he can do. But that's the priority I've put on Jordan Ridley. But yeah, if I can't get him now, I'm just going to have to wait to the buyers when he's like 650 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, the midfield. Now this is, look, the forward line is clearly the weakest of most of our teams, but that's doing really well with cheap players. So F6 probably still a worry, but the midfield is where we're sort of lighter on than most years. I usually always go 5 minimum in the midfield, and then even sometimes a 300 or 400k at M6. But this year it was only 4, albeit 4 big boys. And I already swapped one this week. So Neil to Brayshaw I went, which I said before didn't work well. But we still have 4 rookies on there, which while they've been good, you can't rely on them forever. Tom Powell hasn't exactly set the world on fire. Goulden, obviously, one of the best rookies we've ever seen, but Jordan and Berry as well. Look, Berry's been pretty solid, but he doesn't get heap of the pill. And Jordan, I feel he was underscored on the weekend, so he's been pretty solid. The bench is also pretty weak behind. So first upgrade, what are we looking at? We got Guthrie, we got Track underperforming, probably going to drop a bit in price. We got Jelly, who is not even playing a very good role at the moment. So who do you have in your sights?
I think we'll speak a bit more about those rookies in a sec. But for first upgrade, I think it's Bont or Petrarca. But the guy that I think the most obvious first target is if you don't have him, and pretty much most people that would have him would have had Dangerfield, is Tom Mitchell. So at least he has that 89 score in his cycle. So he scored that with his getting tagged by O'Connor. So O'Connor goes to Oliver. So you're probably laughing at the moment if you don't have Oliver, I guess. But see how that goes. It's definitely Tom Mitchell. But it's interesting because it looks like Petrarca is butchering the ball real bad right now. And Bont, who maybe has lost a bit of mid-time to Treloar. McRae is still the highest CBA player for the Dogs, even though Treloar's CBAs, I think they were like 20 or something, which is a massive increase. So I think that I'm watching Petrarca and Bont, but my priority is Tom Mitchell. I want to see Petrarca start kicking properly again, because right now he's averaging like 2 120s in Dream Team in a row, and then 90 something in Supercoach.
Yeah.
So I still think he's a good option. It's not like he still looks really good. 30 touches a game odd, something like that. I'm not sure on his forward time. Probably haven't paid enough attention, but we'll monitor that. But I still think he can score well with 30% forward time. So Mitchell is my main priority, and then keeping an eye on Bont and Petrarca. Do you have a priority upgrade target? Because I think this is where we need to upgrade first. This, or if you have a weak F6, probably.
Yeah. Like I said, usually you have a lot more big boys in here, and only having 4 it doesn't sort of look right because I've just gone big for so long. I think Titch is a good answer for sure. With that sort of 80 in his price. Clary, I would say, obviously, if I didn't already have him. Walsh, I think we have to mention as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable, and because he's sort of 540 started, he only went up 10 or 15k, and has about 100 break. He's still gettable, for sure. So, and he looks really good. I mean, his base is 30 touches a game. It's whether or not he does a lot with them. He had a few goal assists. He was dominant. I actually thought he probably was going to score a lot more than he did end up scoring, but that's, I guess, because Carlton were very dominant. They had a lot of high-scoring players. But yeah, he'd be another one. Looks set for a 110 average. Even in Carlton's losses, he should still have a pretty decent floor. And I guess Brayshaw too. I know I got him in and he was disappointing, but I think he'll still be very solid this year and has probably a 105 sort of base. I would think. I mean, especially over in Perth, he should be really very good for some good games. And he's their leading CBA guy. He's the number one mid, really. Even when Fife was in, he was the guy. So I guess that actually means a bit of concern with attention. He saw a bit from Kerno, I think. But yeah, that'd be probably the main ones.
Yeah, I'm happy with those. I think Guthrie's probably... I would rather just wait on Guthrie and see how he goes.
He has a lot of guys
43 touches. My goodness.
Yeah, on a string. But
yeah.
No Menegola, no danger. I mean, he's still going to be very good once they're back, but monitor. Look, Jelly, we always talk about Jelly as being only a starting pick. But I think over the next 2 weeks, he's got to be thrown in the midfield with those injuries. He just has to be. I mean, if he isn't, Leon should just honestly retire. But
we're all waiting for it. But
we're waiting. Yeah, he's got. And I guess, look, we probably should mention Cripps' bounce back. Although it was only a 109 for what he had, which is 2 goals and a lot of free kicks 4 and stuff. He did bounce back all right. He didn't look terrible. Not as terrible as Neil was sort of looking. So, what are your thoughts on him and maybe Taranto? I guess we should look at as well.
Yeah, Taranto bounced back, which was not great for non-owners, I guess. Still bad ratio for Dream Team to SC. So I think Taranto's okay if you have him. You just hold him, I guess, and then you get probably an underwhelming F8 for the price you paid. I guess it's okay. I'm not going to bring him in, and if you have him, probably not going to trade him out. Some people might have traded him out, and I understand why, because it's going to frustrate you. He's going to drop 70s probably like once a month, like he pretty much always has. And then Cripps is not a long-term solution, just durability issues. So you might play every game, but there will be games where he's probably going to be sore, like it's been the past year and a half.
Yep.
So if you have Cripps, do you hold? I guess you do, and maybe flip him during the buys. But I wouldn't want to hold him beyond that because I just don't trust his body to hold up. So yeah. And with just one more thing to touch on with the midfielders. So right now I'm fielding in the midfield. So Gordon and Jordan, I'm very happy to field. Jordan's score, as you said, was pretty harshly done by it. But also Berry and Power. I'm actually okay with fielding these four for like 4 or 5 weeks. With Berry, he played a little bit forward. Probably too much forward, actually. But nonetheless, I think I'd rather get Berry off the field. I'm actually more than happy to field Powell, Gordon, and Jordan for as long as possible, or as long as required. So I guess, yeah, the 4 primo mid structure, it's worked well, I think. But yeah, are you happy to field these 4 for the next month or so?
I mean, yeah, I have every round. Those 4 haven't actually moved off my field for 3 rounds. Berry, that did worry me a bit. He was playing pretty much forward pocket the entire game. And his points came from a lot of big plays, like, holding the ball, sort of goal assist or goal he got in the first half, which was what he was. I mean, he only had a goal and like a couple of touches for that first half, so that worries me a bit. It like seems he's destined for a 20 soon or something, like just a really, really poor score. But I guess they have North this week. If he plays forward, that might be a good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I am happy for now. It's just that Brockman's on the bench. Those Dogs rookies, they get probably people back from injury soon. I know they played all right, but it was North, so they're not sort of locked in by any means. It could, it just could quickly turn, like we saw with the defence. But the on-field, I guess, yeah, if that's what you're asking, is fine for now. The rucks, I mean, we don't really need to talk about the rucks. Gaundy
really
is gun. Like, that is just what we expect from these guys. Back to 130 average, Grundy 122, straight back to where we sort of think they look a little bit unders, but like that's what we expect from these guys. The thing is, Flynn is sort of holding his own with 100 something average, which means the people who have him are too. With one of the other big boys is doing well. So I guess a bit annoying for the big Gaundy guys, but there's captain options every week. 160, 160. You can't really mess up your captaincy choice every week. Like, it's been a bit of a mess with the mids captaining him, so you don't really want to rely on them at the minute. So it's just good to have the big guys.
Yep, Hickey's an okay option as well somehow.
I think he's a third ruck, yeah.
Yeah, he's like third and fourth are Flynn and Hickey, I think. So, yep, if you got Flynn there, you're doing okay. If you got Gordon Grundy, sitting pretty, I guess. So,
yeah,
nothing really to say on the rucks. Just keep him there.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see when we cut Flynn. I think that's going to be a key point in the season, because some people might greed in and get the cash early to get more points on field, but some people might wait to squeeze a bit more money out of him.
Sort of like Rob. I remember I sort of traded him out a week early and he had like 160 on the Tykes, and I was like, far out.
I think I traded him out for 400 and he got to the mid 500s or something.
Yeah, that was a killer.
So, yeah, I think I just want to squeeze as much money out of him since I've like used 4 trades already out of the six available. So yeah, I think I'll just wait, be patient. Even if his break even's like 50 or something or 60, just maybe he can show he's got a high ceiling. So plays Grundy this week, I think.
Yep.
And he scored okay against Gorn, so gets a bit around the ground. So yeah.
All right. The forwards. Now, this line, surprisingly for how little we've spent here, it looks so good. Like, Dunkley, great pick. I mean, his CBAs were like finally 40%, like still the 4th, 5th, like Trelaw jumped in. but still, he does all the big point scoring things: tackling, contest possessions, kick to goal, 125 average. I mean, what's more to say? And then there's Zeeble and Impey. I mean, if you don't have these guys, it's very bleak outlook at the moment because they are just absolutely dominating for their price. Chad Warner, man, he's unbelievable for what he cost us. So forward looks good. The must-haves and upgrades is sort of where we may be able to sit on these cheap guys for a long, long time. Tex is probably the one we miss. So
Yeah.
here's the one we really need to talk about. Can you still bring in Tex this week?
Yeah, I don't see why not. He's 400k. He's playing like the best player to ever play the game, pretty much. Maybe that's a bit too far, but I think on the couch they said it's like the best start to a season
I think since
in the
Danger.
last 10 years.
Like Danger had one, the only one that rivaled it or something.
Yeah, Danger 2017 when he no, that was Dusty's Brunner year.
Yeah, Danger was insane too. Yeah,
Danger had the best best season ever recorded in terms of champion data ranking points in 2017. Oh, I spoke about this on my video. I just can't make any sense of it. I just remember what he was like last year. Like he couldn't even put two hands in the air.
He was going to get dropped.
Yeah, someone sent an article today that is he still best 22, and he really probably wasn't, to be honest. But just a lot of things are going for him, and then the fixtures lined up for him. It just can't get any better. Like all the key defenders are falling apart, playing the weaker teams. So I think you can bring him in. Obviously, you would have rather get him last week, but it's hard to know what to expect from him. So I think people still have the idea. People are still fearful that he's going to stagnate and drop a 40 because he's a key forward, but he doesn't look like he's going to do that the way he's going. If he pulls up really well every week, I think you can get him in. And then do you offload him as soon as he's done with this? In the next 4 weeks, he's playing probably not the most difficult fixture. So do you just offload him when he's maxed out, or do you just keep him? And is he a keeper?
I mean, I'll run through it for those that want to know. Obviously, it's the North game this week, which is probably a massive reason as to why people trade him in last week, of course. But then it's Freo at home, which is fine. The Hawks, which they're okay yesterday, but they're no real threat in Tassie. That game is, and then back at home against the Giants, and then the showdown. So I think someone said he's like kicked the most goals in showdown history. So
he kicked 3 in the Amy game, but he only scored 50 against Port. But he only had 8 disposals as well. So I was looking at that, and I thought he looked good.
He's been contested marking as well, hasn't he? Which is big for scoring. So
the Gold Coast tried to double team him. He took a contested mark. They triple teamed him. He took a contested mark.
Yeah, Seth Collins is just I think we overrated him a bit.
I mean, I don't know. He won their best and fairest.
He did, but
did he just not play?
I mean,
well?
Tex maybe just he didn't really play. I mean, forwards are getting a bit of it's been a bit of commentary about them getting a pretty good run too with free kicks. Like Harry Mackay the other day got 3 or 4 in front of goal, kicked 2 goals too. Tex got 4 or 5 as well. And when he gets one, he doesn't miss. That's the thing with Tex. If he gets one within 55, it's a goal. So, that's what it seems like anyway right now. So, I don't know.
I feel dirty bringing him in because he's been my least favorite Crows player, and I'm a Crows supporter just because of how frustrating he's been. But when he's at his peak, it's amazing to watch.
Well, I think we just need to talk about how you'd get him then, because that's the issue. Who are you trading out?
Well, it's Phillips if you have Phillips. If you have Phillips, I would go straight to Tex. It's going to make money anyway. And then this is your situation. So I'm trading Campbell this week. And by the way, I do not recommend anyone trade out Campbell. Don't do it. I'm just doing it because I want Ridley. But you have 200k in the bank.
Yeah. So after Young to Chapman, it'll be 220k, and I will have nothing else to do.
Could you go Power to Tex?
No. Holy shit.
I like
live
Power,
action
here.
here.
I don't want to get rid of Power.
What is he? Oh my god, I can.
I don't know. It's hard. Do we cut these rookies?
I can.
The problem is that there is so much upside here. It's like astronomical upside that we've never really seen before for a 400k player. Well, 300k last
I
week,
could
but I
do it
guess
by
it's 400K.
4K.
I like Power. It's just that he plays for North and he's getting flogged. And he probably, I think Power can average 65.
I actually think he's been okay.
He had this horrible clanger where he kicked a cross goal.
Yeah,
direct to it. That cost him really badly. Otherwise, probably would have got 60 odd.
I feel like when you do one of those, you're like restricted from getting points for the rest of the game. That's what it always feels like. Like Daniel the other week, once you do one or two of those really, really bad ones, it's like I just don't want to give you points anymore.
It just scale down 1 point every time you.
Even if you do something amazing, it's like, nah, you did that before. You're not getting much points.
And the thing was, like, Taylor Walker was underscored, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because I was watching the game with my mate, and like I was trying not to check scores because he was going to give me shit every time I opened my phone.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like this is a 170 game here because he's taking contested marks everywhere. Kick like what 6 goals 3 or something.
Yeah.
Then I saw 130. I was like, oh my god, thank God for that. So
it's your worst score for the year.
Yeah. So if you have, because I guess the Young to Chapman situation, I think a lot of people are going to do that. So you might have a bit of money.
Yeah.
I think I would go powdered Tex if I could.
See, I had 80 already in the bank, so I think you have to have that sort of amount to do it. But yeah,
I like these rookies a lot though, so it's a tough one. But it's just the upside, and the upside is hard to ignore.
Oh, the text train. How is this a thing?
I know. It's ruined the game somewhat. It's made it interesting, but it's like it's fundamentally wrong. Like this isn't supposed to happen.
It's not. Oh, he has 20% ownership. It's like it is a really, like, if you don't have him and he goes absolutely nuts, it's not so bad now, but if it continues for another month,
yeah,
it's over.
Just on Zeeble Impey, I guess Warner as well.
Yep.
This is as we were saying earlier in the video. It sounds harsh, but if you don't have any of these three, it's massive problems. Are you paying? Would you be, if you didn't have them? Would you be prepared to pay the premium after their first massive price? I think they've all gone at least 80k up.
Yeah, so Zeebel's 340 now, which is that's still bang for buck for what he's doing.
He's a stat patter. I love it.
It's disgusting, but I mean, it's so bad that he goes 155 while also losing by pretty much 155. Like it's not right, but it's what the game is.
I don't know if North have fitness issues, but they did not run that game out very well because I stopped watching it 3/4 time. I checked the score and Bruce is on 10 goals. McRae's had 15 touches.
Like, they keep like 10 in the last or something. It was like just party time. I honestly would. Chad Warner, if for whatever reason you still don't have him, 228k. He's playing mid, man. He's playing like third or fourth mid in that midfield. Like, and he looked really good. He absolutely looked really good. So 90, he could be for a 90s, like probably 80s average, but that's at 220k. That's still pretty good. And then Impey, I mean, I know we both didn't start him. It's not that I was fading him. It was more the Neil factor that he was the mid price I had to chop.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that should have been obviously Hayden Young, but he's got the role, man. I actually thought he was almost under on the weekend. I think the game hit total points, so people started going down. But he's got that role, 20 kicks. I think he had something like that. So they look for him. I would. Would you be paying for any of these guys still at their price?
Oh, absolutely. I think you have to have them even at a premium. Even like Impey, like they were just using him a bit like I know you watched Jaden Shaw a bit closer than me, but it was like they wanted to get the ball into his hands as soon as they exit. It's like, where's Impey? Give it. It was
even like he wasn't coming. Did you see when Burgoyne had the ball? Like he got a free kick, Burgoyne in the back pocket, and he was standing there, and he's like looked over to Impey, and he's like begging him to come run towards him and handballed it to him. Like Impey wasn't even doing what they wanted him to do. So yeah, I think you do.
I think like Warner's the 15th averaged forward at the moment, so I don't think Warner's a keeper, but he's the one you hold for
buys,
like last pretty much. Yeah. And then Zeeble and Impey, they look like keepers to me. Unless something goes wrong somehow, but Because I know it's hard because it's a bit of a jump for MP scoring, but just because they're using him so much, and then Zeeble as well. Impy doesn't get kickouts, does he?
No, he didn't have a
It's
single one.
Hardwick.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
Hardwick.
so that might hurt him a little bit.
Yeah.
But Zeeble is, I think, I think there's, I guess you just play, think they're keepers until at some point you think they're not.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put
But
it.
if at the end of the year, if Impy's playing the way he is, you'd be very happy with him at F6, I guess. But I guess we still need to wait on that, I guess. But yeah, definitely these are guys that must-haves. The other must-have is Josh Dunkley.
Oh,
I think I spoke as well. Like, he doesn't need crazy mid-time to score stupidly well.
Yeah.
So I would be moving mountains to get him in while he's under 600.
Yep. Did we speak about upgrades? I think there isn't really a lot on the horizon. Like Dusty, I guess it's probably good you don't have Dusty. Obviously, he started on fire, but he will. It does look like he will drop a pretty poor score at some stage, and we'll chop him up for 500k. So that will happen. Rowan Marshall's coming back soon. Monitor him. Steel side bottom doesn't look good at all.
Nah, not interested.
Danger's obviously suspended, so it doesn't look. There's not a lot of options. That's what makes Zeeble and Impy keepers more.
I think for the time being, it's Dusty, Danger, Marshall, I guess. Maybe Butters. I'm not sold on Butters just yet.
Yeah, that 55. I don't know about you, but that sort of made me pretty happy.
The CBA's, yeah. It was good because a lot of the top teams had Butters because they rocketed with that 160.
Yeah, and then he was traded in big time as well. He'd still be a good pick. I mean, he's a talent. Yeah. He's a mega talented player. So, but who else? I mean, there's not a hell of a lot of more options.
Maybe some more pop up. Like Fogarty is an interesting one. I just had averaging 110, but had that big game.
That's a crazy score.
Easy win. So I just don't. I don't understand what Fogarty is about just yet. If you know what I mean? Like I don't have a full good read on him just yet.
Yeah.
So I can't jump to him now. I'd rather go to Tex at the moment because they're similar price.
Yeah.
So Fogarty, maybe he's a primo after, and just keep an eye on him. I think the first player I want is probably Dustin Martin because I think he's not 100. He's probably like 105 to 110. Maybe that's conservative. But given he went 100 last year in the boosted points year, so he probably would have gone like 95 last year. So it's a bit of a jump. But yeah, I want Dustin Martin first probably, if he's like low 500s.
Yeah, he's the safest option. Lastly, rookies. I guess we should talk about. There's not many coming up. I know Waterman you're getting this week. He's only played one game, so I'd obviously monitor him. Dev Robbo is another one who looked pretty good and had about 7 or 8 CBAs as well. Who do you think we should be looking at?
I like Waterman and Dev Robertson, but I don't recommend going early on Waterman. It's just that this is the sort of stuff that Ridley's doing to me. I have to trade out Campbell.
You don't recommend Campbell trading. You don't recommend getting Waterman.
No, but it's just what I want to do. I like Waterman. I just think his waffle numbers were pretty good. He's ready-made and probably should have played round 1. Didn't get much time in the Amy game, but in the practice games, he was kicking bags. It was like he was like their best on ground in one of their practice games.
Yeah.
So I still need to do a bit more research on him, but I think it looks good. And he could be a must-have rookie, but he might not be. But from what I saw, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big win. I'm not expecting 80 average, but given what I've heard over the preseason and their injuries right now, I like him. I definitely would rather wait a week though. But I do like Dev Robertson a lot. I don't know what his job security is right now because if they didn't play him round 1, then he's probably that 20th to 23rd player or something, 20th to 24th player. So he could be like a sub guy because he's a bit versatile, play inside and outside. I think he's an inside guy, but they just played him a bit outside in the preseason just because they have Neil, they have Lyons and Berry, which are pretty much pure inside most of the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Berry's not back. He's still injured, but he's not far away, I heard. So that could be interesting to see if he holds his spot.
He's one I definitely wouldn't go early on.
Yeah.
But I like him a lot. Like junior numbers are really good. He slid in the draft. He turned up. They invited the top 20 potential picks to the some draft night, and he was the only one that didn't get picked up, I think.
Okay.
Because everyone thought he was going to go top 20, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't heard a whole lot from him in the preseason, but he's definitely one with a high ceiling. He's won 76K, which is a horrific price to bring in, but he's definitely one to keep an eye
on. Yeah, I think he looks really good, but did not bring him in the week early. Highmore, obviously, most of us would already have him. Obviously, he's on the bubble if he comes back.
Don't trade him.
Rise quite a bit. No. And then Chapman's the other one on the bubble, of course. That not a must-have by any means, but scoring pretty well. And with Young injured, probably out for a bit, and they've got a few more injuries back there. His job security looks pretty reasonable. So he's the other one. Max Holmes looked all right yesterday, but obviously
first quarter, they barely noticed him after that. We got 2 or 3 touches after that.
Yeah, and they got so many players coming back. And then Luke Parks, I don't know anything about this guy. I mean, my mate brought him in for some reason to avoid the donut. And it's the same mate that's ranked like 170th, which is an absolute joke. But he got like 55 or something, which I guess is pretty decent.
I can speak a little bit on him.
You know about him?
He's a intercept marker. I think he was overlooked in the draft last year from memory. So he's that 1 year older than most people. Pretty sure. Watching him play a little bit, I only saw him in the first quarter. His kicking was a little bit suspect.
Okay.
But he was able to get the ball and he looked comfortable at the level. I think is he competing with Williamson, maybe? I think sometimes they use Williamson a bit more up the ground though. So I'll wait on Parks, but he could be a decent rookie. I think Chapman is a little bit safer at the moment. Better talent as well. But I don't mind him. He could be one that we miss.
Yeah, I mean, we get another week to look. So
I think it was 70-something average in the SNFL.
Okay.
So probably expect 60 average or something. See how far he's come along. I think Carlton rate him pretty highly as well.
Yeah.
From when I was watching the debut video, they were saying that he's one of one of the most courageous blokes, something like that. I can't remember, but they all got around him. I think this is an interesting one. I think I'll wait on them. Again, with all these guys, you probably want to wait on them, but I guess it's Chapman probably have a better read on Chapman. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Park's price is just more, it's just basement price, so it's sort of enticing.
Holmes, I thought was a bit of a longer term project for Geelong. So I didn't expect him to play, but played okay. More your outside type from what I saw. I don't think he's a good option, to be honest, but I'm not 100% sure. I actually
watched the thing of post game, and he was like the Geelong rooms or something, and he said he was cramping up the last quarter, so he barely played, I think, in the last term. So, I mean, first game, fair enough, but
that would explain why.
That's probably why he didn't see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, the last thing I forgot to mention at the start, all the leagues are doing really well. The courts, I mean, there's so many. It's so hard at the Supercoach. Like 10 years ago, we didn't have any resources or anything, and you sort of was writing your team on a piece of paper. Now everyone is like really, really good at Supercoach. So we've got like 3 leagues in the top 10, like a few more in the top 20, 30. Like there's about 12 or so leagues from all our community. So doing really well.
I think it's important to be in a community of some sort in this game. Because I don't know, whether it's bouncing off ideas or people posting news all the time and stuff you wouldn't have known before.
Yeah.
And then it's like, as people, we all get better together as well.
Yeah.
I think we've definitely, especially myself, I've gotten a lot better. I mean, it's early to say, but I've made less blunders this year than last year already, and it's round 3.
Yeah.
So, in terms
you need
of starting
someone to sort of check your bad takes, sort of thing. You need a second opinion always. Yeah. For sure.
It's a hard year because if you're not like really, really, really up to date, and you get caught out pretty bad because there's got to be like 9 or 10 must-haves, maybe more, especially like that forward line. It's like you don't have those certain 4 players in the forward line, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So having a community, I think, is super important. But yeah, just looking at our leagues, it's funny how the Regs 3 league, I was going to call them the Discord rejects instead of Discord Regs 3. Nah, just only playing, but the people that didn't make the cut for the
top 2. But
yeah, they're getting their revenge on us because they're way ahead of the other Regs leagues. That everything else is 20th to in the other 3 Regs leagues are 20th to 30th in that bracket. Regs 3 is 4th.
And they're 4th, but they're technically like second 18-man league because, 10-man league's a little bit cheap. But yeah, so they're like
Jesus Christ,
insane. They have like three top 100 players in that league anyway. Insane.
Oh, really? Okay, that's pretty good.
I guess that wraps it up. Thanks for joining me, George, or thanks for having me, mate.
That's right. I'm joining you today, so no worries.
Good luck this week. Good luck with the trades, mate. Welcome to the Ridley train. I'll enjoy the VC on Thursday night, I reckon.
You don't have to tell me to delete my team anymore, I guess. See.
All good.
Are you vice captaining him?
I think so. Yeah, let's do it.
Someone said something in my comments and saying that Sydney don't really like intercept markers haven't done the best against Sydney.
I guess they use it so well. That's probably a fair point. But look, if they get shots on goal, mate, the kickouts, that's all we need.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're rambling. We'll get on to the next this week, mate, and we'll catch you next week.
All good.